Welcome to Chai with Molly, a show where we celebrate diversity the Canadian way. I'm your host, Molly, and I have been looking so much forward to seeing you this week. We have an amazing show in store for you, so stay with us. Canada is about to sign a free trade agreement with India. It should be happening anytime. Once it is finalized, it is going to open all kinds of opportunities. Today, we are here at Indo-Canadian Chamber of Commerce head office to talk to the president of ICCC, Mr. Dharma P. Jain, and he's going to tell us what this agreement will entail. Welcome to our show, Mr.
Thanks,
Jain.
Molly. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, so before we get into the free trade agreement, give us a little bit of a sense of what ICCC is.
Well, very good question, Molly. Basically, ICCC, as the name stands for Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce. It's the oldest Indo-Canadian diaspora organization. It was established in 1976. Initially, when it was established, it was a kind of social organization working on a Canadian business space, but gradually now it has evolved as a premier Indo-Canadian organization, the oldest one with the biggest diaspora. Our membership has grown to, right when it started with 3 members, to now over 250 paid members. And ICCC has been working in Indian-Canada business space, connecting Indo-Canadian businesses, Indo-Canadians with India, Canadians, not the Indo-Canadian, the Canadian mainstream businesses with India, at the same time. For any Indian businesses who want to start a business, want to start any kind of import, export and ties up with Canadian businesses. That's where ICCC has been doing a great work for last so many years.
Okay, so now before we get into more details of the free trade agreement and what it will entail, give us a little bit of more sense of what are some of the benefits that people can have by joining your organization.
Good question, Molly. Actually, as I told you, well, ICCC basically it's working for the Indo-Canadian business space. So all our members, most of the members, they are the businessmen, they are the professionals, and even you open our membership for the students, because the students, they are the leaders for tomorrow, they are the futures. So it's a great platform which provides networking opportunities. We hold almost, during a year, we hold over 100 events. All these events are, most of them are business events. These events include roundtable meetings with Canadian businesses, Canadian policymakers, even all the inward delegations coming from India. These kind of delegations comprise various ministerial visits, bureaucratic visits, where we talk on the policy matters.
Okay.
Just for example, say a new immigration policy comes in, often we meet with the immigration minister. It may be federal immigration minister or provincial minister, where we talk on the policy matters. Well, whether a such change in immigration policy is good or not. So we are constantly talking with all of the governments. This includes federal governments, provincial governments, and the city governments in all our efforts which we are doing to promote the trade, bilateral trade between India and Canada. All the businessmen, they have an indirect say because we are working for our members. And the members, they are the core. Whatever we do, that's in the direction to promote bilateral trade, and all our efforts are resulting a robust ties between Indo and Canadian trade.
Wonderful. Now, I know that the membership is not limited or confined to only Indo-Canadians. There are a lot of other people from other backgrounds or regular Canadians who can also join this, right?
That's true. Well, the name itself is Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce, but our membership is free. Membership open to anyone. You need not to be a Canadian. You need not to be Indian or Indo-Canadians. We have members from all sectors, and even it's open to anywhere, non-resident members. Even someone sitting in India or China, they are our members. We have members right from Quebec. We have members sitting in India. We have members from China, because ultimately we are talking the business. It's the business. Mm-hmm. Well, why? Sometimes the question comes, why we have a name Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce? Why we don't have Canada-India Chamber of Commerce? Mm-hmm. I believe when it was formed in 1976, it was the first wave of professional immigrants. They have more fraternity towards their motherland.
That's right.
They were the ones who were struggling. So obviously their affinity initially went towards India. But still, we are working in Indo-Canadian business space. We all are Canadians, and Canadian interests are top priority.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk a little bit about free trade. I know Bank of Montreal had conducted a study a few years ago, and the study told us that 40% of people who want to do business outside of Canada would like to go to India. That's a huge percentage.
Yeah.
Right? A big percentage of people. But they are not going there, right? Because there are all kinds of, apprehensions people have or businesses may have, especially if they happen to be small to medium-sized businesses. If you are a major corporation, let's say like Xerox or something like that, no issues because you're so big. But smaller businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, they have concerns because they don't know what is on the other side. As much as they want to go and trade there, as much as they want to go and set up businesses. Now, I'm not talking about Indo-Canadians in this context.
Right.
I'm talking about anybody else outside of Indo-Canadians because they too want to go.
That's true.
Because the whole world is enamored with India, right?
Exactly.
As an emerging market. So, what role does ICCC play in this context, or can play, or is willing to play?
Well, Molly, question is very good and valid, particularly when we not talk about the Indo-Canadians, but all others. Well, no doubt, India is an emerging economy, the world's largest democracy, and in terms of GDP, it's the fourth. And everyone looking towards India, it want to start a trade with India. But being a small and medium enterprise, that's a challenge, as you told rightly. Well, if it's like a Xerox or the big corporate, they don't have those kind of challenges.
Exactly.
Although they have those kind of challenges, but they have the money, they have their setup, they have the infrastructure, they can come over those challenges. But for the small and medium enterprises, what happens? The first thing I would advise all Canadians, that includes Indo-Canadians obviously, those who are looking for any kind of business opportunity in India, let's connect with ICCC. Because just by connecting, you're gonna get a free-hand information. And that's where we comes, the seminar, the symposium, the meeting we do, that's where we provide them networking opportunity. We talk about Indian economy, we talk about Indian business culture, we talk about what are the challenges you're gonna face. So my advice to all non-Indo-Canadians who want to start a business in India or who are looking for any kind of business opportunities, first, let's become a member or connect with ICCC. We can advise them what kind of business atmosphere is available, what kind of economies, what kind of political scenario is there. Second thing, my advice is to them, well, visit to India at least once or twice because you are going to invest millions of dollars. You must know the first-hand information. Suppose someone wants to start an engineering unit in India, they must know what kind of automobile sector is there, what is the demand, where are the raw material suppliers, where are the customers, what are the tax policies, what kind of, if they want to start a unit, whether it's going to be a lease unit, so where you want to set up your unit.
So let's talk about...
And chamber can play a very important role advising them of the roles.
Yes, absolutely. Because I know the government of Canada is very keen on having this relationship. They have set up with 6 to 8? Eight
trade commissions,
Yes,
trade commission
in
officers,
India.
yeah.
And but I think that if they can meet somebody here, local, it would make things a lot more easier, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and you answer yourself. Yes. Well, going to India and then meeting people with over there, it's a costly affair, and everyone doesn't have those kind of resources to go over there. So that's, as I told you, chamber is the first point which can connect. Similarly, all the trade commissioners and all the bureaucrats and the policy makers, they do visit Canada. We have a lot of delegations coming every month. Like just to give an example, in August only we have 2 delegations. One came from state of Gujarat and one came from state of Karnataka, and we hosted business dinners where we invite all our members and non-members. That's the place all those who are aspiring to be a business, aspiring to do a business with Canada, they can come. They can have a first-hand experience. They can rightly talk with face-to-face with the policymakers, with the bureaucrats, with the ministers, and can get a sense what kind of business atmosphere India offers.
Okay, so now talking about some practical issues, there are people who have gone to India as business people. We're talking about small to medium-sized businesses who have encountered all kinds of challenges, starting from even registering your corporation, which can be quite frustrating for someone who's Canadian, because here you go on the computer and you can
Yeah,
register your
that's true,
corporation.
that's true, yeah.
Right? So is the Chamber of Commerce talking to the government of India to implement some of these changes that can take away this frustration?
Well, definitely. Chamber, our main mission is to connect Indo-Canadian businesses, and that will help flourishing Indian business as well Canadian business, and both will trade. When we hear these kind of stories and our members, they feel these kind of experience, they share that experience to us, we raise those concerns. Whenever we meet with Indian policymakers, we raise these concerns, and we also take up these issues with the local High Commissioner office in Ottawa and local consulate office. So we become a voice. We tell them what kind of challenges our Canadian partners or Canadians are facing in India. So that's where the chamber voice was heard, and most of the states now they have single window system. Like the government of Gujarat, they have a single window system. If you are an entrepreneur, just go to that single window system, you go to the commissioner or the resident officer, you tell them what kind of industry you want to start, and you will have all the information right on one place available. You want to register in industry, you want to apply for a land, you want to apply for a license. So India is emerging toward that side. But yes, India has to go a long way. The system is becoming more conducive, and I believe now since Mr. Modi is a Prime Minister of India, things will change in every Indo-Canadians, not Indo-Canadians. Because I represent Indo-Canada, so most of the time Indo-Canadian word automatically comes out of my mouth. But all the businessmen, doesn't matter the nationality, and they're looking for they're optimistic.
Because he plans to do away with all the red tape.
Exactly.
This was his tweet.
Exactly,
I think, today or
and we can see we can experience the change that coming up in last 100 days. He's been there as a Prime Minister.
That's right. Now, does ICCC offer any mentorship options available to, let's say, someone who doesn't know anything about India but wants to go and establish? So are there any mentorship or partnerships that ICCC can offer or is offering?
Well, there are two aspects. When you say mentorship, you are particularly asking me mentorship to someone who want to start a business in India. Well, ICCC as of today doesn't have that kind of mentorship program, but whatever I will do, all the networking events, business to business meetings, the symposiums, the meetings, seminars, I believe they provide the kind of mentors, which is indirect mentorship. They provide them opportunity because they are learning about the India and the Indo-Canadian Indian businesses. But for the Canadians, yes, we have a mentorship program. This mentorship program mainly aimed to new immigrants and the professionals who face challenges in terms of their recognition of their qualification, local experience. So ICCC will last 4 or 5 years. Every year launch a mentorship program, and this year hopefully by the end of October we are going to launch that program.
Yes, and that's a very important.
Personally, what I would suggest, anyone who want any kind of information regarding India, Indian economy, Indian businesses, they can contact ICCC. ICCC staff and myself as being the president will do our best to give them the required information and help them.
So you are the new president, so congratulations
Thank
to you. What are some of the things that you, as a member of the organization and now, of course, as the president of the organization, feel that ICCC has been able to achieve?
Oh, very good question. Well, firstly, thank you. And I am proud of being a member of ICCC, and now I am leading the organization. It's I would say, I told you, it's a very prominent and eminent Indo-Canadian organization. And we have achieved a lot of milestones. If you look at the organization itself, it was started with 3 or 4 members in 1976. Then a couple of the years later, it started holding annual gala. So that was a signature event. And in this gala, we give almost 13 awards in different categories. So we recognize prominent Indo-Canadians in different categories. Our members have grown from that 3 to 4 persons to now over 1,250. In our emailing list, we have over 3,500 emailers sitting on. Any email goes from our chamber that goes to over 3,000 recipients. We closely work with federal government, provincial government, and the city governments. We participate with Indian delegations. Even Prime Minister Harper visited in 2011. Our past president, Mr. Naval Bajaj, he was one of the visitors. So whenever these kind of things are doing, well, ICCC has achieved a lot. But recent development, IEEE about its own building where we are sitting and you are taking this interview.
That's
it's
right.
6,000 square feet building.
Impressive.
And I would say hardly in Ontario and GTA there are only a couple of chambers who have their own building, and that not that big huge space. All they are running out of rental buildings. This is 6,000 square feet building, close to $1.2 million property as in today. So that's one of the achievement. ICCC started from downtown Toronto. Now IEEE have coast to coast presence. We have council in 6 different provinces.
Wow.
Like Edmonton, Halifax, New Brunswick, Ottawa, Quebec, where we have a membership, we have the councils, they are working, they are holding couple of events every year. So if you look at the total what we have achieved as an institution in last 38 years, I would say I feel proud. We have achieved a lot. And IEEE started as a social diaspora organization, and now we have evolved as a business organizations. Again, we have to do a lot of things. This building, the future plans, what we think of, we are thinking to start a center of excellence, a resource center in this building only. And the
what
basement.
What will that center do?
Well, mainly it will focus on the research and how we can help growing in bilateral trade. Well, IEEE have worked on publishing some of the papers. Still, we are working on a project that's unlocking full potential between India and Canada trade. So hopefully in November we are publishing that report. Besides that, IEEE is a mining committee where we have hold so many roundtables. So IEEE is doing some of the research work.
I think the greatest achievement from my point of view is that ICCC has been able to build that very vital and important bridge between two nations.
That's
right.
True.
And so that's really, really important, number one. Number two, and I think it has also been able to build a bridge in the transition of the new immigrants coming, because one of the challenges that a lot of the new immigrants, including us, have faced is not being able to get your first job.
That's true. That's
right?
true.
And not being familiar with how the system works.
That's right.
And not having so that intimidation, that fear, and the rejection when you're told wherever you apply, even though you may be the most qualified person, you lack Canadian experience.
Exactly.
Right? So I know the government of Canada has done a lot and is still doing, and we are still not where we really need to be, where an immigrant with an Indian qualification can just walk into a job.
That's true.
Right? So, and I think that ICCC has been able to help ease that transition.
That's you rightly said, Molly. Well, no doubt ICCC has worked at filling the gap and played a role of bridging this. Well, as a new immigrant, you rightly said, well, we all have gone through that kind of horror stories and that kind of experience where you are the most qualified person having decades of experience, but you are not taken in hand, say, oh, sorry, you don't have the Canadian experience. And where that IEEE plays a very important role through our mentorship programs, through the networking, where new immigrants comes in, newly qualified professionals comes in, they have a hand-to-hand experience, they network with the right people, and the people always at a chamber level and the individual level, they help them. They help them connecting with the right people, they help them connecting with the right kind of, job search agencies. They help them to go to that center helps new immigrants. So as a new immigrant, basically you don't need any kind of help except the mentorship.
Yes.
You don't want someone to help financially. You want a right direction, a right path. Someone you want to just hold your finger and just help you to take the first step.
Because it helps.
And, exactly.
Right?
IEEE,
When you're in a new country,
doing a great job.
Yes.
Not only to connecting the business people, but also connecting the professionals.
Exactly.
In IEEE, we have different committees, and the one committee is that works only in the direction, that's new immigrant committee. Then we have mentorship committee, youth committee. So what happened, the youth committee works with young entrepreneurs, young students just out of universities and colleges, or still they are studying in university colleges. So where we are trying to build future leaders.
Very important. Right? So thank you for doing that. So if there are our viewers who want to get additional information on what we've been able to discuss, where can they reach you?
Well, for the viewers, I would say first browse ICCC's website. That's www.iccconline.org. You can directly write to me. My email ID is president@iccconline.org. You can call ICCC's office. Number is 416-224-0090. And our website is very interactive. You will find a lot of resources available What we do, how you connect with ICCC, you can join ICCC just by going online. Fee is very reasonable, and I would say this is the lowest fees any of the trade body or Chamber of Commerce offers in GTA, or I would say in Canada itself. Our fees for the student members is only $40 a year.
Okay.
For the regular members, it's just $100 a year.
Yes.
And we hold, as I told you earlier, close to 100 plus events, and all the events are free.
All right, so there you go. India is an emerging market. There's some very, very exciting things that are going on. So if you too are intrigued by what is happening in India or would like to explore that as a possibility, by all means, connect with ICCC. They will be more than happy to help you understand. Thank you for being here.
Thanks Molly, thanks for inviting me.
That's all for this week. I hope to see you again, same time, same place. But before I go, I would like to remind you that to be good and kind to a stranger is a good thing.